The night unfolds slowly. Outside, rain begins to fall, soft at first, as though the sky itself is breathing in rhythm with you. Each drop touches the earth with a quiet kiss, scattering into tiny vibrations that weave through the air. You lie still, listening, and the sound arrives not only in your ears, but deep within your body. It is more than noise. It is a gentle message written in waves, a science of calm hidden inside nature's lullaby. Sound is nothing more than vibration, tiny ripples moving through air, water, or even the walls around you. But when rain falls, its rhythm becomes something special. Unlike sudden shouts or sharp alarms, rain carries no edge. Its tones are soft, unpatterned yet predictable. Your brain listens and recognizes safety in that softness. The sound contains no threat, no demand. It gives you permission to rest. Your breathing begins to match the rain. Inhalation rises like a cloud. Exhalation falls like a drop returning to earth. This is not coincidence. Science shows that sound influences your nervous system. When the mind encounters consistent, low-frequency sound, like the hum of rainfall, it begins to release tension. Your parasympathetic system, the branch of your nerves that guides you toward rest and recovery, awakens. Heartbeat slows, muscles loosen. Your body, without effort, chooses to let go. You notice the variety within the sound. The quick patter against leaves, the hollow tap against the roof, the deeper splash and puddles forming outside. Each has its own timbre, yet together they form one seamless whole. Like instruments in an orchestra, raindrops collaborate without conductor or plan. The brain delights in this subtle complexity. Unlike repetitive mechanical noise, which can irritate, rainfall keeps changing just enough to keep your mind engaged, yet not so much that it alarms. It is randomness wrapped in predictability, perfect for soothing you towards sleep. The effect is ancient. Long before city walls or glowing screens, humans found safety in the rain. A storm outside the cave meant predators stayed hidden. Their scents washed away, their movement softened. Rain meant protection, a barrier between you and the world. Perhaps this is why your body, even now, instinctively softens at its sound. Somewhere deep within memory, personal and evolutionary, you know that rain is a cloak. You listen more closely, and the sound of rainfall becomes textured. Some drops fall heavy, striking with certainty. Others scatter lightly, barely grazing the surface. Together, they create a natural white noise, filling the silence without overwhelming it. White noise is more than a phrase. It is a blanket of sound that covers sudden spikes or interruptions. A distant car, a creaking floorboard, a cough. All are softened beneath the rain's steady curtain. Your mind, no longer alerted by every stray sound, slips into ease. Imagine the brain as a watchman, always on guard. In silence, every crack or rustle feels important. But when rain falls, the watchman relaxes, knowing the world is covered by a familiar pattern. You can sleep because the sound is both shield and song. You close your eyes, and still the rain speaks. Vibration does not require sight. In fact, the very bones in your head and chest are sensitive to it. Low rumbles of distant thunder or heavy rain can pass through your body like a drumbeat, reminding you that you are part of the same earth being touched by the storm. Science calls this bone conduction, the way vibrations travel not only through air, but directly through you. It is why music can be felt as well as heard, and why rain can soothe you even with ears closed. Within the brain, something remarkable unfolds. As you listen, tiny hair-like cells in your inner ear dance to the rhythm of water. These cells translate movement into electrical signals, whispering messages to your nervous system. The signals travel to the auditory cortex, the part of your brain that interprets sound. But they do not stay there. They branch outward, touching areas of the brain that regulate emotion, memory, and even pain. Sound, in this way, becomes more than hearing. It becomes mood, sensation, and thought. This is why rain can ease more than sleeplessness. Studies show that steady natural sound lowers levels of cortisol, the stress hormone. With less cortisol flowing, your blood pressure steadies, your muscles stop bracing against invisible threats, and your mind finds enough space to drift. Rain, in its simple repetition, becomes a natural sedative, a medicine you do not swallow but absorb. As minutes pass, the rhythm becomes familiar, almost invisible. You notice not the drops themselves, but the space they create. Your thoughts, once sharp and busy, begin to spread out like ripples in a pond. One dissolves into another, slower and softer each time. This is the threshold of rest. The brain shifting from its daytime alertness into a slower rhythm called alpha waves. These waves hum gently, carrying you toward dreams. Rain guides this transition, not forcing it, but inviting it. Picture the mind as a crowded room. During the day, voices compete, each demanding attention. But when rain begins, it is as though a single calm speaker enters, filling the room with steady words. The other voices fall quiet. You no longer have to manage them. You simply listen, and in listening, you let go. This letting go is not emptiness, it is connection. Every raindrop that falls outside is part of a cycle far greater than tonight's storm. Water rises as vapor, becomes cloud, returns as rain, and flows back into rivers and oceans. It is a rhythm without end. As you listen, you are reminded that your own breath, your own heartbeat, follows a cycle too. Inhaling, exhaling, waking, sleeping, tension, release. The rain outside mirrors the rain within. Still, there is more. Sound does not only soothe, it also awakens imagination. In the soft irregularity of rain, you may hear whispers, footsteps, or faint melodies. The brain loves to find patterns, to turn randomness into story. This is why rainfall has inspired myths and tales across cultures. Some heard the sky weeping, others heard ancestors speaking. Tonight, you hear not words, but comfort, a language of rhythm instead of meaning. And yet, within this comfort, a question stirs. If sound can calm so deeply, what happens when the sound is removed? When silence returns, does the mind rest, or does it awaken into vigilance once more? The rain begins to slow, drops more scattered now, the pattern less certain. In this thinning rhythm, you feel a shift, the presence of night itself, darker and deeper than before. The last few drops fall like fading notes of a song, leaving behind a quiet so vast you can almost hear it. And in this quiet, you sense the weight of darkness, not as threat, but as mystery. Rain has guided you here, softened your mind, prepared your senses. But now, without the sound to anchor you, you notice the stillness. You wonder, why does darkness feel so different? Darkness arrives not suddenly, but as a slow folding of the sky. The light fades gently, the horizon softens, and the familiar edges of your world begin to blur. You lie in this dimness, the rain from before fading to a memory, and notice how everything feels altered. A chair in the corner seems taller. The air itself feels thicker, carrying weight it did not have during the day. This change is not only around you, it is within you. Your body is built to respond to the night. You may think of darkness as absence, as if the world has simply switched off a lamp. But in truth, darkness is not empty. It is filled with quiet signals, biological and cosmic, shaping how you move, think, and feel. Every living creature on Earth knows this truth. Flowers fold, owls stir, tides rise, and your own body begins its nightly transformation. Your eyes are the first to feel the difference. Vision depends on light, and when light falls away, your eyes must adjust. Within your retinas lie two kinds of cells: cones, which thrive in brightness and color, and rods, which awaken in dimness. Cones allow you to see details and vibrant hues during the day, but at night, they fall silent. Rods, though less precise, take over. They cannot show you reds or yellows, but they reveal shades of gray and motion in the dark. This shift is called dark adaptation. In the first moments after light fades, you feel nearly blind. But within minutes, your pupils widen like open gates, allowing more light to flow in. Within half an hour, your rods reach full strength. You see not clearly, but differently. Shadows become more meaningful than shapes. The world is simplified, stripped to essence. Yet your vision is not the only sense that awakens. In darkness, your brain begins to listen more carefully. Without visual information leading the way, hearing sharpens. A drip of water in the sink, the soft shifting of blankets, the subtle hum of electricity, all arrive with greater presence. Science calls this sensory compensation. When one sense grows quiet, others grow louder. It is not imagination, but adaptation, a survival gift from countless nights endured by your ancestors. Even your skin participates. At night, with less light striking your body, your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, senses the time. This rhythm is guided by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a cluster of neurons in your brain that acts like a conductor of time. It listens to light and darkness, orchestrating your hormones. As darkness deepens, melatonin begins to rise in your blood, signaling every cell that it is time to rest. Muscles relax, digestion slows, and your body prepares for renewal. Yet with this calm comes something else, a sharpening of alertness. You feel it when shadows seem alive, or when a creak in the night startles you more than it would by day. This too is biology. Darkness was once dangerous. For millions of years, humans and their ancestors lived without walls, without steady fire, without locks. Night was when predators hunted, when unseen dangers lurked beyond the campfire's glow. Those who listened carefully, who sharpened their senses in the dark, survived. You carry that inheritance still. When you lie in the dark, your heartbeat may rise at unfamiliar sounds. Your breathing may grow shallow for a moment. But this is not weakness. It is the wisdom of evolution. Your body is reminding you. The night requires attention. Yet notice something else. Darkness does not only bring fear, it also brings depth. Without sight, your imagination takes the lead. A shape in the corner may become a story. A sound in the hallway transforms into a possibility. Science explains this as pareidolia, the tendency of the brain to find patterns where none exist. But perhaps it is more than error. Perhaps darkness invites your mind to practice story making, to weave safety and meaning out of emptiness. Consider the stars. In daylight, the sky is bright and blank. But in darkness, it becomes infinite. Only when the light is gone can you see the galaxies, the delicate threads of starlight traveling for millions of years just to meet your eye. The universe hides in brightness, but reveals itself in dark. Inside you, something similar unfolds. Daylight fills you with activity, tasks, thoughts colliding and overlapping. But in darkness, those distractions fade. What remains are deeper reflections, the questions that whisper only when the world is quiet. Who are you, really? Where does fear come from? Why does the unknown both frighten and comfort you? The night does not answer, but it allows you to ask. Biology and psychology intertwine here. The absence of light reduces external stimuli, giving your brain more room to wander inward. This wandering is not random. It is the soil for which dreams and insights grow. Many cultures have seen the night not as danger, but as teacher. Monks meditate before dawn, poets write in candlelight, and even scientists make discoveries in sleepless hours when a mind drifts beyond ordinary thought. As you rest, notice how your body continues its work. Temperature drops slightly, conserving energy. Muscles loosen, joints release tension. Even your heart beats with a slower rhythm, like footsteps on a quiet path. Darkness tells your body that it is safe to repair itself. Cells begin to clean toxins, the immune system strengthens, and memories of the day settle into storage. So the night is not emptiness. It is a laboratory filled with experiments your body performs without your instruction. 1,000 chemical signals move within you, aligning with the darkness outside. Sleep is not just relief. It is science in motion, shaped by the ancient rhythm of light and dark. Still, within this softness, there is always an edge. The same biology that calms you also keeps you aware. That is why a story told in the dark feels different than one told in daylight. Your senses are awake, listening more carefully. Your mind, free from visual noise, latches on a narrative with more intensity. This is why scary stories, whispered in the dark, have power. Not because the dark itself is dangerous, but because the dark makes you more alive to every word, every sound, every imagined shape. And so, lying here, you feel it, the strange duality of night. Comfort and tension, safety and alertness, peace and unease. Darkness does not choose between them. It holds them both, inviting you to rest and reflect at once. The rain outside may have quieted, but inside you, a storm of sensation stirs. You are calmer, yet more awake in subtle ways. You sense the mystery of night, the way it transforms not only the world around you, but the very chemistry of your blood and breath. And as you linger in this awareness, another thought arises. If the darkness sharpens your senses, if it makes stories more vivid, then perhaps fear itself is not an enemy, but a guide. Perhaps the shiver down your spine is not meant to disturb you, but to teach you. What then is fear? Where does it live in the body? And why does it accompany the night like an old companion? Fear is not a stranger. It visits you often, sometimes quietly, like the unease in a dark hallway, and sometimes suddenly, like the startle of a loud sound. Tonight, in the silence left behind by rain and in the deep hush of night, fear lingers at the edges of awareness. But instead of pushing it away, you begin to wonder, what is this sensation truly? Why does a shiver rise along your spine? And why do your hands feel colder when you are afraid? Fear begins in the brain, in a tiny almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. You can imagine it as a sentinel, always scanning, always searching for signs of danger. A creak, a shadow, an unfamiliar whisper. Your amygdala does not wait for certainty. It acts before thought, sending signals through your body like a watchtower, lighting fires along a mountain ridge. Within moments, your heart races, your breath quickens, and blood rushes to your muscles. You are ready to run, to fight, or to freeze. This is not weakness. It is design. For millions of years, humans lived with real danger. Predators in the forest, storms without warning, other tribes approaching in the night. Fear was not an inconvenience. It was survival. The body that shivers at a rustle in the dark is the body that once survived by noticing the lion before it pounced. But notice how fear feels in you now. There is no lion here, no storm tearing at your shelter. And yet, the same biology awakens. Your nervous system cannot always tell the difference between imagined threat and real one. This is why stories told in the dark have such power. The body reacts to them as if they might be real, sending that electric shiver down your spine, tightening your breath, sharpening your ears. Fear, then, is not only a signal, it is a storyteller. Your mind takes the signals of the body and weaves them into meaning. A shadow becomes a figure. A sound becomes footsteps. Your imagination joins the dance, filling in gaps with ancient memories of what could be. Science calls this pattern recognition, but it feels like story. Fear is the spark. Imagination is the flame. Even the tales humans tell across cultures carry this biology. Legends of spirits in the dark, creatures of the forest, voices in the rain. These are not random. They're shared echoes of the same survival instincts. When a group gathered around a fire to hear a story of danger, each heartbeat quickened together. Fear bonded them, teaching children to be cautious, teaching adults to be vigilant. In this way, storytelling itself became an extension of biology, a cultural immune system against the unknown. But fear is not always terror. Sometimes it is subtle, a feeling of being watched, a sudden pause in conversation, a silence too deep. These lighter shades of fear carry lessons too. They sharpen awareness. They keep you present. They remind you that life is fragile and precious. Even now, as you listen to your own breath, fear keeps you tethered to the moment, awake in your body. Inside your chest, the biology unfolds with precision. The adrenal glands above your kidneys release adrenaline, a messenger that races through your blood. It tells your heart to beat faster, your lungs to pull in more oxygen, your blood vessels to redirect flow to the muscles. Within seconds, you are transformed, not by thought but by chemistry. The body becomes a story of survival, written in hormones. Yet, as quickly as fear rises, it can also fade. When your brain reassures itself, when the sound was only the wind or the shadow only a tree, your parasympathetic system returns like a gentle hand calming a startled child. Heartbeat slows, breath softens, blood returns to the stomach, digestion resumes. This rhythm between alarm and calm is as natural as tides. It is the ebb and flow of your nervous system, shaping every day and every night. And so, fear becomes more than danger, it becomes rhythm. It is the quickening before the release, the tension before the sigh. Without fear, calm would lose its depth. Without darkness, light would lose its meaning. You need both, and your biology knows it. Still, you may ask, why do humans seek fear when they're safe? Why do we tell ghost stories, watch frightening films, or sit in the dark listening to tales of storms and spirits? The answer lies in the balance. In safety, fear becomes play. The body rehearses its survival dance without real threat, strengthening the system while allowing the mind to wander through the thrill of the unknown. It is a way of touching danger without being consumed by it. Perhaps this is why you feel a strange comfort in fear's presence tonight. The shiver reminds you that you are alive, that your body listens and responds, that your ancestors whisper through your nerves. Fear is not only alarm. It is a bridge to memory, a reminder of connection to those who survived before you. The rain has stopped, but in its place another sound grows faintly in the distance. A low rumble, steady and deep, rolls through the air. Your body tenses, then relaxes as you recognize it. Thunder. Unlike the imagined sounds of footsteps or whispers, thunder is real, a vibration born of lightning splitting the sky. It carries its own power, its own story. And so you lie quietly listening. Fear has guided you here, sharpened your senses, taught you to listen more deeply. Now, with the storm approaching, you wonder, what does thunder remember, and why does it move not only through the air, but through you? The air is heavy now. A silence holds for a moment, thick and waiting. before it is broken by a deep rumble rolling through the night. Thunder. It does not begin sharply. It grows as though the sky is clearing its throat. You feel it not only in your ears, but in your chest, a vibration that seems to belong as much to your body as to the clouds above. Thunder has always commanded attention. It is more than sound. It is atmosphere speaking. Born from lightning, it is the after voice of a brilliant flash. When a bolt tears through the air, it heats the sky to tens of thousands of degrees in less than an instant, hotter than the very surface of the sun. Air cannot contain such violence quietly. It expands suddenly, exploding outward, then collapses back in, creating a pressure wave that spreads in all directions. What you hear as thunder is the sky rippling from that sudden wound. The rumble travels at the pace of sound, slower than the speed of light that first blinded the clouds. That is why you see lightning before you hear its voice. Each second of silence between flash and rumble is a measure of distance, a natural ruler written in time. Children learn this game instinctively. Count the seconds, divide by 3, and know how many kilometers away the storm is. It is science disguised as play. And yet, no matter how much you understand the physics, thunder never loses its power to stir. Your ancestors felt the same. For them, thunder was the voice of gods, the drumming of spirits, the anger of the sky itself. Before science, story gave it meaning. But even now, with every equation written, the sensation remains. Your heart pauses, your breath stills, your body listens with respect. This listening is not mere superstition. Thunder carries low-frequency sound, the kind that travels far and sinks deep into the body. These waves move not only through air, but through ground and bone. That is why you feel thunder as much as hear it. Vibrations ripple into your chest cavity, resonating like the skin of a drum. Your nervous system notices this resonance and reacts with both alertness and awe. It is a paradox. Thunder can startle, yet also soothe. Much like rain, it creates a steady presence, a reminder that you are small in a vast world. That smallness, instead of frightening, can be comforting. You are held in something larger than yourself. The storm is not against you. It is around you, encompassing everything, a reminder of forces beyond control. As you lie listening, notice the rhythm. Some rolls of thunder are short and sharp, like the crack of a whip. Others stretch long and low, echoing across valleys and buildings, tumbling like stones down invisible hills. Each carries a different emotional weight. The sharp cracks stir alertness. The long rumbles invite reflection. Both are part of the same orchestra, the sky playing through vibration and silence. Inside your brain, thunder stirs ancient memory. The amygdala, the same sentinel that watches for danger, lights up at its sound. But once your reasoning mind steps in and reassures you, this is only a storm, safe beyond the walls. The fear fades into fascination. The sympathetic nervous system prepares you to respond, then gently releases its grip, letting parasympathetic calm return. This cycle of alarm and release creates a rhythm as natural as the thunder itself. Tension, then ease. Perhaps this is why storms feel alive. They mirror the body. A sudden strike of lightning, like a racing thought. A burst of thunder, like a pounding heartbeat. Then, the long silence afterward, like an exhale. The storm outside echoes the storm within, and in recognizing that pattern, you feel a strange kinship with the sky. Cultures across the world have carried this kinship in their myths. The Norse spoke of Thor, whose hammer struck with lightning and roared with thunder. In ancient Greece, thunder was the weapon of Zeus. In indigenous traditions, thunderbirds beat their wings to shake the sky. Always, thunder was given personality, treated not as random noise, but as voice. The human mind, listening in awe, could not help but weave story around the rumble. And perhaps this is still true for you. Even with science at hand, thunder does not lose its voice. It gains depth. You understand its cause, and still you feel its presence as story. Listen more closely now. Each rumble fades differently. Some diminish quickly, swallowed by distance. Others linger, rolling over themselves again and again, like waves refusing to leave the shore. This lingering comes from echoes, the sound bouncing off hills, buildings, clouds themselves. The world holds on to thunder, reshaping it, passing it along until it dissolves into quiet. This echoing is not unlike memory. A single event reverberates through your mind, reshaped each time you recall it, until it is not the same as when it began. Fear becomes story, story becomes lesson, lesson becomes comfort. Thunder outside mirrors memory within, born sudden and sharp, but softened as it travels through you. Meanwhile, the storm carries on its work. Rain falls harder now, each drop adding to the soundscape. The white noise of rain, the low resonance of thunder, the sudden brightness of lightning. They merge into one vast sensory field. Your body listens to it all, layered and rich, each sound guiding you deeper into awareness, yet closer to rest. Notice how your breath matches it. When thunder crashes, your chest tightens for a moment, a reflex of surprise. When it rolls gently, you release, exhaling with it. Storm and body dance together, rhythm within rhythm. Sleep itself works this way. Cycles of deep and light, tension and ease, silence and dream. The storm outside prepares you for the storm inside. The nightly cycle your brain will soon enter. For within you, another kind of thunder is waiting. Not of air, but of neurons. Each night, your brain generates its own surges of electricity, silent flashes that consolidate memory, repair pathways, regulate mood. Sleep is filled with storms of its own, smaller, hidden, yet no less powerful. You may not hear them, but you feel their work. They're the reason you awaken restored, the reason fragments of the day dissolve or reappear in dreams. The sky and the mind are not so different. Both hold storms, both release energy in sudden bursts, both return to calm when the work is done. The thunder outside begins to fade now. Each rolls softer than the last. You feel its vibration less in your chest. More is memory in the air. The storm is moving on, carrying its song to another horizon. And as it drifts, it leaves behind not silence, but space. Space for your own body's storms to begin. You close your eyes. The storm has reminded you of power, of rhythm, of memory carried in sound. Now you are ready to turn inward, to listen to the hidden architecture of your own sleep, where storms of thought and cycles of rest shape the night within. You close your eyes, and to the outside world, it may seem as though everything stops. Your body grows still. Your breath lengthens, soft and steady. The weight of the day melts slowly into the mattress beneath you, as if gravity itself is taking pity, drawing away all the effort you have carried. Yet, deep within you, there is no stillness at all. Your mind, your organs, your cells, they move with quiet precision, following a script written by millions of years of life. You're not shutting down. You are opening a door into one of nature's most intricate designs, the hidden architecture of sleep. Sleep feels like surrender, but it is also construction. Beneath the calm of your eyelids, the brain is a city at work. Neurons spark like distant lanterns along winding streets. Messages ripple across networks, whispering instructions, sorting memories, laying down the scaffolding of tomorrow's thoughts. What you live today, what you saw, what you felt, what you struggled with, finds its place in this quiet time. Some memories are stored like books upon shelves. Others are discarded like leaves drifting away in the stream. Sleep is not absence. It is a gardener pruning, planting, shaping. Science tells us that sleep moves in cycles, each like a tide rolling toward the shore, then pulling back again. You drift first into light sleep, where your body begins to release its grip on the waking world. Muscles loosen, eyelids twitch, and your awareness dims like the fading glow of sunset. Then you sink deeper into slow wave sleep. Here the brain pulses in long, gentle rhythms, as though humming a lullaby to itself. The heart slows, the breath deepens, the body repairs. Cells knit back together, tissues mend, growth hormones flow. In these hours, your body becomes its own healer. And then comes the dreaming stage, REM sleep. Rapid eye movement that your body lies still. In this strange theater, the brain burns brightly again, nearly as active as when awake. Images play across your mind like shifting lantern slides. Some are fragments of memory. Some are echoes of imagination. You may fly across oceans you have never seen, speak with voices you no longer remember, chase or be chased by figures made of thought. Dreams are not accidents. They are rehearsals, experiments, and sometimes warnings. They are the brain's way of practicing life when life itself pauses. The rain outside your window falls in sync with this rhythm. Its patter softens as you sink, then swells like a chorus as dreams begin. Water gathers, splashes, flows, just as your brain gathers images, splashes them into story, and flows with meaning you do not fully grasp. Scientists map brain waves on paper, tracing the arcs of sleep, but the body has known this architecture long before charts and machines. Each stage is a room, each cycle a staircase, and you move through them again and again until the night has done its work. Why do you need such complexity? Because life itself is demanding. Each day brings countless impressions, faces, words, decisions, the hum of machines, the shifting of light. Your brain cannot hold all of it raw. It must weave threads into fabric, patterns into meaning. Sleep does this weaving. In slow wave sleep, memories are filed into long-term storage. In REM, emotions are processed, stitched gently into your understanding of the world. The architecture of sleep is the architecture of self. Without it, you would be a house without foundation, a library without order, a song without rhythm. Notice, too, how your body obeys the dark. It listens to light and shadow as faithfully as it listens to breath. In the deep clockwork of your brain lies the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a cluster of cells near the optic nerves. These cells measure light, telling the body when to rise and when to rest. Melatonin flows like dusk through your blood, signaling that night has come. Cortisol fades, its sharp edge replaced by calm. This orchestration is not random. It is circadian rhythm, a cycle older than humanity, tied to the turning of Earth itself. You are not apart from the planet. You are timed by it. Outside, thunder may roll, rain may fall, but within, the cycles continue. Your heart adjusts, slowing slightly, saving energy. Your muscles, once tense, now surrender, releasing micro tears from the day's strain. Even your immune system sharpens, preparing cells to defend you from tomorrow's unseen intruders. Sleep is not passive, it is armor. It is medicine. It is the quiet workshop of survival. Imagine your brain as a library closing for the night. The librarian moves through the aisles, gathering scattered books, returning them to the right shelves. She locks away fragile manuscripts in safer cases. She discards useless scraps, torn papers, unfinished drafts. By morning, the library is ready again, organized, refreshed, more spacious than before. That is what your sleep does for you. It clears the clutter of thought, so that waking life may move more freely. Yet the architecture is delicate. A single missed night of rest unsettles the scaffolding. Concentration wavers, emotions swing wide, the immune system falters. Like a building with cracked beams, you feel unstable. But give yourself time, surrender to the rhythm again, and the structure repairs itself. Sleep forgives. Sleep restores. The rain outside whispers this same lesson. Storms may come, but the waters always find balance again. As you listen, you may wonder about dreams, the strange worlds where logic bends, where fear and beauty blend without boundary. Why do they come? Some scientists say they are random firings, the brain's byproduct of activity. But others believe dreams are rehearsals, testing your reactions to danger, to loss, to possibility. They are stories your brain tells you, not for entertainment, but for survival. Even in rest, you are preparing. Even in dreams, you're learning. The hidden architecture of sleep is built not of bricks, but of moments, cycles that repeat, scaffolds of memory, corridors of dream. Tonight, you walk them as countless generations have walked before you. The rain is your companion, marking time. Your body is the builder, the dreamer, the healer. And as you surrender deeper, you enter not just unconsciousness, but a pattern carved by the universe itself. Darkness, rhythm, renewal. The clock of your body ticks gently, aligned to tides, to moonlight, to the earth's slow spin. You are not alone in this cycle. Plants fold their leaves at night. Birds tuck their heads beneath their wings. Oceans swell and retreat with the pull of lunar gravity. Everywhere, life sleeps. Everywhere, life follows the architecture. You are part of this chorus, your breath joining a global rhythm, your heartbeat aligning with the silence between raindrops. The longer you rest, the deeper the architecture shapes you. In the final hours of night, REM grows longer, dreams more vivid. Here, the brain takes liberties, painting wider, stranger canvases. Some dreams you may forget at dawn, slipping like mist. Others stay, etched into memory, influencing your waking choices. Dreams are the bridge between the deep body and the conscious self, a whisper from one world into another. You may wonder, as your breathing slows further, where does this architecture lead? Why does the body invest so much in these unseen hours? The answer is both practical and poetic. Without sleep, you could not live. But with sleep, you do more than survive. You are renewed. You are rebuilt. You are reimagined night after night. A masterpiece that remakes itself endlessly in the dark. The rain softens now, as though it too prepares to rest. Your body knows the pattern. Your cells know the rhythm. And as you drift deeper, the hidden architecture holds you like a cathedral, vast, silent, and eternal. And still, one question lingers, gentle as the last echo of thunder. If dreams shape your memory, what else in the night might be shaping the hidden landscapes of your mind? Rain falls steadily outside, a soft percussion against glass. You listen, and in the rhythm of droplets, your mind begins to wander. The shadows of branches sway against the dim glow of streetlight, and without effort, your eyes turn them into something more. A figure, perhaps, a story waiting to unfold. This is the first secret of imagination. It arrives not when you force it, but when you relax and let the world offer you half a picture. Your mind paints the rest. Neuroscience tells us that the brain is not a passive receiver. It is an artist of perception, always predicting, filling in, smoothing edges of what it cannot clearly see. When the rain blurs windows, when the night bends outlines into uncertainty, your brain works harder, stitching together guesses. A shadow across the wall might be only the curtain, but your body leans forward, alert. For a heartbeat, you feel presence. You feel story. This is pattern recognition, the deep evolutionary skill that kept your ancestors alive. The rustle in the dark might have been only wind, but sometimes it was a predator. Better to imagine danger and be wrong than to miss it entirely. Tonight, as you lie in safety, the same instincts live quietly in you. They do not frighten. They guide your imagination into play. Close your eyes and recall. Have you ever seen shapes in clouds, faces in tree bark, or animals in the spill of shadows on the ground? Scientists call this pareidolia, the tendency of a human brain to see meaningful forms where none exist. It is not a flaw. It is creativity woven into biology. Each mistaken face in the dark, each phantom figure in the mist, is a rehearsal for storytelling. Your mind is not tricked. It is exploring possibilities. The rain outside creates a perfect canvas for this process. Water distorts sound, softens edges, and scatters light. Imagine a raindrop sliding down glass. Its path bends the reflection of the room, stretches the shape of a lamp, twists your own face into something unfamiliar. For an instant, you glimpse a stranger where only your image should be. This is your perception, alive and improvising, seeking meaning where the world offers mystery. Think of the stories told long ago, when storms filled nights with sound and shadows. People gathered close, listening to rain, hearing whispers in the wind. From such nights came myths of spirits, gods, and unseen watchers. The storm was never empty. It was full of presence. The unknown carried voices, and imagination gave them names. Even now, when you listen to thunder, when you see shapes moving beyond clear sight, you are touching that ancient well of storytelling. Your heartbeat responds, too. When you imagine, your body participates. A shadow mistaken for a figure can quicken your pulse. A whisper in the rain can tighten your breath. This is not danger. It is rehearsal. Your nervous system practices readiness, then eases again, teaching you balance. The biology of imagination is not separate from the biology of survival. One flows into the other, as rain flows into soil. But imagination is not only about fear. It is also about connection. Look at how children turn shadows on the wall into animals, how they invent companions from shapes and sounds. Their world is alive with possibility. In the quiet of night, your adult mind does the same, though more gently, more secretly. The flicker of lightning may reveal nothing unusual, yet in its afterimage, your mind lingers on patterns. You may see a pathway in clouds, a doorway in darkness. These are seeds of dreams. Dream researchers suggest that the same neural pathways used for imagination are active when you sleep. The brain rehearses scenarios, explores shapes and voices, constructs entire landscapes from fragments. What begins as a shadow in the rain can become, in sleep, a story where the shadow moves, speaks, transforms. You are both scientist and artist of your own night, conducting experiments without instruments, painting with a lightless brush of thought. The rain continues. Its steady rhythm is like a heartbeat outside your own body. Listen closely. Does it sound like footsteps at times? Or like soft conversation drifting from far away? This is not a mistake in hearing. It is your auditory system leaning into the noise, searching for patterns. The brain hates emptiness. It prefers to fill silence with possibility. That is why rain, with all its randomness, becomes a theater for imagination. Notice, too, how imagination is colored by memory. A shadow in the rain might remind you of a story you once heard, or a dream you cannot quite recall. Science shows that memory and imagination are deeply intertwined. The same networks that allow you to remember the past allow you to imagine the future or to invent a figure in the storm. The shadows you see are partly made of light and partly made of you. In this way, imagination is not only personal, it is collective. Cultures across the world see shapes in the night sky, invent constellations, tell myths of gods and heroes among the stars. Each figure traced in starlight is born from the same brain that sees shapes in the rain-slick glass. Imagination turns absence into presence, and presence into meaning. As you lie here, notice how safe it feels to imagine. The shadow does not need to be explained away. It can remain a companion at the edge of your vision. The whisper in the storm does not need to be silenced. It can remain a gentle mystery. Your body rests, even as your mind plays. This balance, calm in the presence of uncertainty, is one of the quiet gifts of being human. And so, the rain writes stories outside your window. You do not control them, yet you participate in their unfolding. Each shape, each echo, each imagined figure is a doorway to wonder. The unknown is not empty. It is alive with possibility. And in that possibility, you find comfort, you find rest. The rain outside is steady now, no longer scattered, no longer hurried. It falls like breath, measured and calm. You listen, and as you listen, you feel your own body responding. Muscles that once held tension begin to soften. Your shoulders drop, your jaw loosens, your chest expands more easily. You're not only hearing the rain, you are entering its rhythm. And within you, something deeper begins to shift. Your comfort is not an accident. It is chemistry working silently and invisibly inside you. Tiny messengers travel through your blood, through the soft networks of your brain, whispering stories your body knows how to follow. They carry the language of feeling, joy, calm, safety, sleep. To listen to the rain is to listen to yourself, and to notice that your biology, too, creates music. One of these messengers is dopamine. Imagine it as a spark, a glimmer that rewards your brain for moments of pleasure and anticipation. When you hear a gentle song, when you savor a warm drink, when you notice the freshness of rain in the air, dopamine flickers. It reminds you, this is good. This is worth remembering. Return here again. The rain is simple, yet in its steadiness, your dopamine pathways are quietly lit, painting your mind with a soft sense of reward. Another messenger, serotonin, flows differently. It is the steady anchor, the deep tide that influences mood. When serotonin is balanced, your thoughts feel lighter, your heart feels steadier. You are more likely to notice beauty in small things. A raindrop on the window, the glisten of wet leaves under streetlight, the smell of earth soaking beneath the storm. The rhythm of rainfall, studies suggest, helps regulate serotonin levels, nudging you toward balance, toward contentment. And then there is melatonin, the gentle lantern bearer of sleep. As the sky darkens, as light fades, melatonin begins to rise in your bloodstream. It whispers to every cell, slow down, soften, prepare to rest. The sound of rain, dimming the world, signals safety. It tells your body it is time. With each droplet, your melatonin grows stronger, guiding you toward the threshold of dreams. These three, dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, are only a few of the countless chemicals flowing through you now, but they weave the tapestry of your comfort. They're not abstract. They are real, measurable, pulsing with each beat of your heart. And yet, they feel like something more, like moods, like atmosphere, like the quiet voice of your own soul. Science and softness are not separate. They move together, as rain moves with wind, as night moves with silence. You may wonder, why does rain feel so calming? Why does it seem to help these inner messengers flow more smoothly? The answer lies in sound. Rainfall creates what scientists call pink noise, a gentle spectrum of sound that is balanced and even, never sharp or sudden. Unlike silence, which can make every small disturbance stand out, pink noise wraps your senses in steadiness. It reduces the startle of the unexpected. Your nervous system, hearing this balanced sound, relaxes. With relaxation, your body releases more of its comfort chemistry, letting serotonin and melatonin find their rhythm. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself inside the chemistry. Picture dopamine as tiny sparks glowing along pathways of light. Picture serotonin as a calm tide washing across your brain, steady and rhythmic. Picture melatonin as a soft glow drifting gently downward, like lanterns floating on water. The rain outside is their partner. It gives them context, safety, and time to do their work. The story of comfort is also the story of evolution. For your ancestors, night and rain meant shelter, meant safety within the cave, meant time to rest while predators stayed away. In those moments, chemistry whispered, "Is safe to let go." Even now, when you are far removed from those ancient nights, the same molecules respond to the same cues. The storm signals a return to rest, and your body listens. It is important to notice, too, that chemistry and imagination are never separate. The shapes you saw in shadows, the whispers you heard in the rain, those experiences were painted not only by perception, but by these same chemicals. Dopamine colored them with wonder. Serotonin steadied your mood to receive them. Melatonin softened you toward dream. Your inner storytellers and your inner messengers speak the same language. Think of how a single memory of comfort is formed. The sound of rain tonight, paired with your relaxed body, is etched by dopamine into your mind. In weeks or months, when you hear rain again, serotonin will stir that memory, reminding you of this peace. Melatonin may carry echoes of it into dreams. Chemistry turns sound into memory and memory into feeling. That is why comfort grows stronger each time you allow yourself to notice it. Even your breath participates in this chemistry. As you slow it, as you let the rhythm of rain guide you, you change the balance of gases in your blood. Oxygen flows more steadily, carbon dioxide releases more fully, and with it, your nervous system receives the signal to relax. Your heartbeat slows, your blood vessels open, and through this, serotonin and melatonin are released more freely. You're not just hearing the rain, you are embodying it. Now, let your attention drift inward. Imagine the rain not only outside, but falling within you, drop by drop. Each droplet a molecule, each ripple a messenger. Inside this inner rainfall, your cells respond with ease. The story of comfort is not passive. It is active, alive, unfolding in you moment by moment. The beauty of this is that it requires no effort. You do not command dopamine to spark. You do not order melatonin to rise. They flow as naturally as water seeking the lowest path. Your role is only to allow, to notice, to rest within their quiet guidance. This chemistry is not mechanical. It is tender. It is the feeling of safety after a long day, the warmth of lying down, the release of what no longer needs to be held. It is the reason a lullaby soothes a child, the reason a candle's glow feels sacred, the reason rainfall feels like belonging. You are not separate from it. You are it. And so, the comfort you feel tonight is both science and poetry. It is molecules and meaning inseparable. The rain outside provides the sound, the darkness provides the canvas, and your body provides the chemistry. Together, they create this moment, a moment where you can soften, a moment where you can let go. Stay with this awareness. Stay with the quiet realization that your comfort is not random. It is crafted by the smallest, most faithful parts of you, by messengers you cannot see but always feel, by molecules that carry stories more ancient than words. The rain will continue its song. Your body will continue its rhythm. And these invisible storytellers, dopamine, serotonin, melatonin, will continue their work, gently guiding you deeper into rest. The chemistry of comfort hums quietly within you, guiding you further inward. And as you drift into its embrace, you begin to wonder if molecules can carry the story of rest, what hidden forces might carry the story of dreams themselves. Darkness has always been more than the absence of light. It is a stage where your senses rearrange themselves, where vision takes a step back and hearing moves to the front. In the quiet between raindrops, you notice how sound sharpens, how even the softest creak of wood or distant call of an animal carries weight. The dark is a place where the ear begins to imagine, where sound becomes story. You listen differently when the lights are gone. The brain, always hungry for patterns, leans into noise and silence alike. A rustle may be a branch, but your mind, tracing possibilities, wonders what if it is something more. This act is not mere fancy. It is survival dressed as imagination. For most of human history, the dark was filled with uncertainty. A predator could hide in the shadows. A storm could gather without warning. To live in such a world was to remain alert. The stories you tell yourself in the dark are echoes of that ancient vigilance. Science offers an explanation. When vision fades, the auditory cortex amplifies. Neurons light up with heightened sensitivity, catching detail that would otherwise be missed. This is why night feels alive with whispers. Each sound paints a picture, and because the picture is incomplete, your imagination rushes in to finish it. A steady drip of rain might become a rhythm. The creak of a tree might sound like a footstep, and before you know it, your body leans forward, prepared for whatever story the night will tell. But there is comfort in this too. Stories are not only shields against fear, they are bridges into calm. When you lie in bed, eyes closed, and listen to the rain, your mind takes those random noises and arranges them into gentle patterns. Like a weaver at a loom, the brain braids sound into meaning. This is why bedtime tales have always soothed us. They give the mind something safe to shape, something soft to hold on to, while the rest of the body surrenders to rest. Think of the earliest humans huddled together around a fire. Flames flicker, shadows dance, and outside the circle of light, the wilderness waits. The fire protects their bodies, but the story protects their minds. A tale told aloud turns the vast unknown into something familiar. The night may be endless, but the story has rhythm, beginning and end. To hear a story in darkness is to be reminded that chaos can be ordered, that the mind is capable of weaving clarity even when sight is taken away. Your own brain responds to stories in remarkable ways. Neuroscientists find that listening to narrative activates not just the language centers, but the same regions as if you were living the event yourself. If you hear a story about running, your motor cortex stirs. If you listen to a description of food, your sensory regions light up with imagined taste. Stories blur the line between listening and experiencing. They are rehearsals of life, gentle practice for challenges both real and imagined. And yet, in the dark, their power deepens. Without the eye's constant stream of images, the mind becomes freer to build its own. The listener is not passive, but painter and architect, designing scenes within the theater of imagination. Every detail you picture is uniquely yours, shaped by memory, shaped by longing. In this way, the dark becomes not emptiness, but possibility. Even the science of fear bends towards story. The amygdala, the small almond-shaped structure deep in the brain, flares when something is uncertain. It urges caution, nudges you toward vigilance. But when a story is told, the prefrontal cortex joins in, reshaping the experience. Fear is softened into curiosity, worry into suspense. This interplay explains why children who might fear the dark still crave ghost stories by candlelight. To listen in the safety of story is to face shadows without being swallowed by them. Perhaps this is why rain, in particular, feels like the perfect companion to nighttime tales. The sound is both endless and irregular, a kind of natural language. White noise, scientists say, masks sudden changes in sound, calming the startle reflex. Yet within the rain's monotony are hidden rhythms, little syncopations and rolls that keep the mind attentive. It is as though nature itself is whispering a background story, one that you lean into, one that soothes even as it stirs imagination. You notice this when you lie still, listening. The rain does not tell you what to think. It gives you fragments. A rush across the window becomes a wave. A drip from the roof becomes a metronome. A distant thunder becomes the drumbeat of something larger than yourself. And you, half awake, half dreaming, become the storyteller, stitching together what the ear delivers into meaning that feels both ancient and new. This act is universal. Across cultures, stories rise in the dark. Myths of creation, tales of ancestors, songs of guidance, they often begin with the hush of night. Psychologists suggest that storytelling binds communities together, making survival more likely. To share a narrative is to share a framework for understanding the world. In darkness, where uncertainty is greatest, such frameworks are most needed. For you, here and now, it is not about survival in the wilderness, but about peace within yourself. The story you listen for in the rain is one of reassurance. It says, the world continues outside your walls, but you are safe within them. It says, the unknown is not always threat. It is mystery, and mystery can cradle you as surely as it can unsettle you. Your body responds accordingly. As you sink deeper into listening, heart rate slows, breath evens. The parasympathetic nervous system begins to take the lead, urging rest, repair, and recovery. The brain that once sharpened against danger now finds softness in rhythm, finds steadiness in sound. What once signaled survival now signals sleep. And in this gentle shift, the science of narrative reveals itself as the art of comfort. To tell a story in the dark is to create a container for thought, a place where wandering fears can rest. It is not about the ending. It is about the rhythm, the cadence, the slow unfurling that mirrors the fall into sleep. Each word is a footstep leading you further into calm, further into the embrace of night. So you keep listening, not only to the rain, not only to these words, but to your own mind's quiet weaving. The story is not separate from you. It is you, the patterns you hear, the images you create, the meanings you assign. They're your brain's gift to itself, its way of guiding you into rest without demanding control. Outside, the rain continues its endless narrative. Inside, your body writes its own. The two harmonize, like duet partners in a piece too old to name. Together they remind you that listening in the dark is not weakness, but strength. It is trust. It is surrender. It is the art of letting go while still being held by meaning. And as you drift further into this listening, you may begin to wonder if stories can soften the dark. What hidden shapes might dreams themselves begin to tell? The sound of rain outside your window feels simple at first, like a rhythm you've always known. But when you pause to imagine it more closely, each drop reveals a secret. No raindrop is truly new. The water falling tonight is as old as the earth itself, older than the mountains, older than the seas in their present form. What touches the glass beside you is the same water that once coursed through the veins of dinosaurs, swirled inside glaciers 1,000 miles wide, or drifted in the ancient seas where life first took its fragile breath. To listen to rain is to listen to history returning. The science is gentle yet astonishing, the water cycle. It begins in evaporation, when heat from the sun coaxes liquid into invisible vapor. That vapor gathers, cooling, condensing into clouds. Then, when the sky grows heavy, it releases its weight in rain. The drop slides down the window, sinks into the soil, streams into rivers, joins the ocean once more. The loop is endless, turning without pause for billions of years. What you hear tonight is one tiny movement in this infinite dance. And yet, this one drop holds the whole. Within it are traces of salt carried from seas, minerals dissolved from rocks, even the faintest whispers of air once breathed by ancestors. Scientists call this the hydrological cycle, but you might think of it as Earth's memory made liquid. Water never disappears. It only changes its form. Ice becomes liquid. Liquid becomes vapor. Vapor returns as rain. In this way, water is the great recycler, the storyteller that never loses a chapter. You sip from glass, and the water inside might once have flowed through the Nile or frozen within Himalayan snow. You breathe in, and molecules of water pass through your lungs that may once have risen as mist from the Pacific. This is not poetry alone, it is science. Studies confirm that the molecules moving through you now were part of countless bodies before yours, part of countless rains before this one. Every cell inside you is shaped and sustained by water that carries the world within it. Consider how much of you is water. More than half of your body is liquid, flowing silently beneath skin, pulsing with each heartbeat. Blood is mostly water, carrying oxygen and nutrients like a river across the landscape of your body. Muscles, organs, even a brain you think with, each is bathed in this element. In truth, you are not separate from the rain outside your window. You are part of the same ocean, gathered into the shape of a person for a little while. And the drop itself, how small, how infinite. At its center are molecules shaped like a triangle, two hydrogen atoms joined to one oxygen atom. Simple, almost childlike in its design. Yet this geometry allows for miracles. Because of it, water clings to itself, forming droplets. Because of it, rivers carve valleys and oceans hold together without spilling into vapor all at once. Because of it, ice floats instead of sinking, protecting life through frozen winters. The tilt of those tiny hydrogen bonds writes the story of survival on Earth. When you picture a raindrop falling, you might imagine it as a perfect sphere. In truth, science reveals that its shape shifts as it falls. At first, it is nearly round, but as air resists it, the bottom flattens and the top curves like a tiny dome. Large drops can even wobble, breaking into smaller drops before they land. Every fall is a journey, every descent a small adventure through gravity and air. By the time it taps against your window, the drop has lived a life of its own, and it carries memory deeper still. Some water molecules here tonight were born in the heart of stars. Long before Earth existed, hydrogen and oxygen scattered through the cosmos, drifting through nebulae until they found each other, bound by attraction into the form we now call water. So when you lift your face to the rain, you are touching remnants of starlight, ancient dust gathered into liquid clarity. In the softest sense, you're drinking the sky itself. Water also holds the language of change. Think of glaciers, pressing their weight across continents, carving valleys that later became rivers. Think of monsoons, renewing fields and forests, or droughts, teaching the value of each drop. Civilizations rose and fell around water's presence. Cities clustered by rivers. Empires expanded where rains were generous and shrank where they failed. Even now, life is tied to the rhythm of rain. Farmers look to clouds, children play in puddles, entire ecosystems bloom with a single storm. And then there is the intimacy of it. The drop that rolls down your cheek as you step outside is not foreign. It joins with the water already inside you. There is no hard line where the self ends and the rain begins. The poet Rumi once wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." Science nods here too. For every drop contains the pattern of the whole, every molecule linked to countless others across time and space. As you lie still, you may notice how the sound of rain eases the mind. Part of the reason is biological. The ear interprets random but gentle sound as safe, reducing the startle reflex. White noise, psychologists say, masks the sudden spikes of silence that can signal danger. But deeper still, perhaps, is recognition. Something in you knows this rhythm is ancient, that your body itself is mostly water, listening to water return. It is less like hearing a stranger and more like listening to a familiar song sung by the earth itself. And so, the raindrop becomes a mirror. When you look into it, you see not just reflection, but origin. You remember that life began in water, that your earliest ancestors drifted in ancient seas. Even in the womb, before breath, you floated in amniotic fluid, a small ocean of your own. Every stage of your existence has been written in liquid. To honor a raindrop is to honor life itself. Now think of the scale. One drop seems nothing, but multiplied, they reshape landscapes. Streams become rivers, rivers carve valleys, oceans breathe clouds back into the sky. The collective power of smallness remakes worlds. It is the same with you. One thought, one kindness, one pause to listen can ripple outward, touching shores unseen. In this way, you too are like the rain, singular, yet part of something vast. Outside your window, drops continue to fall. Some land on soil and sink deep, nourishing seeds you will never see. Some gather in puddles, reflecting the dim light of street lamps. Some return to rivers, beginning the cycle again. Their journeys are countless, yet their essence remains unchanged. Water never dies, it only transforms. And so, you too are part of this endless turning, momentary, yet eternal. The rain tonight is not just weather. It is reminder. It is invitation. It asks you to soften, to flow, to remember your place in the endless circulation of things. Just as water travels without losing itself, so can you move through time, carrying memory, carrying possibility. You're not separate from this drop. You are within it, as it is within you. Listen again. Feel how the sound wraps you. Imagine each drop as a messenger from the past, each one carrying a whisper of oceans, glaciers, storms, and stars. They fall not to end their story, but to continue it. And in listening, you are part of the telling. And as the rain drifts you deeper into rest, you may begin to wonder, if one drop carries the ocean, what hidden worlds might be carried inside the silence of your own dreams. You rest at the shoreline of consciousness. Behind you lies the world of thought, structured and clear, where clocks tick and language builds bridges of meaning. Before you stretches the open sea of dreams, vast and without a map. Here at the edge of sleep, you linger, not fully in one world, not fully in the other. The rhythm of the rain outside feels like or dipping into still water, carrying you slowly away from the land you know. This threshold between wakefulness and dreams is called the hypnagogic state. Scientists describe it as the transition where the brain waves shift from the busy beta patterns of alert thought into the slower, rolling waves of alpha and theta. Your muscles release their grip, and your breath steadies into a tide. You may see flashes behind your eyes, colors, faces, or fragments of places you have never been. These are not yet dreams. They are sparks, loose threads in the fabric of your mind, rising before the weave takes shape. The experience is both ordinary and miraculous. It happens every night, and yet it feels like entering a secret passage. Your conscious mind softens its hold, and in that softness, the brain experiments. Neurons still fire, but they no longer follow the strict logic of waking life. Instead, they drift, connect, dissolve, and reform. You might hear a word that no one spoke, or feel the falling motion that jolts your body awake. These little slips are part of the crossing, markers that you are leaving the shore of certainty. Scientists can measure parts of this passage. They can trace electrical patterns in your brain, watch how memory fragments appear, and even observe how the body protects you. As your sleep deepens, a safety switch in the brain stem stills your muscles, preventing you from acting out your dreams. Yet for all the measurements, mystery remains. Why does the mind create such vivid illusions? Why do we sometimes glimpse faces we have never seen or landscapes that do not exist? Perhaps imagination needs this rehearsal space. In the edge state, your brain is not asleep, yet it is not tied to the strict rules of reality. It can wander freely, testing connections, sketching new ideas. Many artists and inventors have touched this space deliberately. Thomas Edison, it is said, would drift with a steel ball in his hand. As he fell towards sleep, his muscles would relax, the ball would drop, and the sound would wake him, just as his mind was slipping into hypnagogia. He gathered the strange images and thoughts from that borderland and turned them into inventions. You too may find that the edge of sleep gives you glimpses of insight, not in words but in feelings, patterns, or impossible visions. But you're not here to capture ideas. You are here to rest. The rain outside reminds you of that, steady and sure. Each drop is like a small hand guiding you further away from noise, further away from the urgency of the day. At first, your thoughts may still try to pull you back. Lists, conversations, and questions echo like footsteps on shore. But as the minutes pass, they soften. The footsteps blur into the rain until they are only ripples, then nothing at all. Your body helps you surrender. The chemistry of comfort, already flowing, continues its gentle work. Melatonin rises, signaling darkness to your cells. Cortisol, the hormone of stress, eases down. Temperature shifts, cooling your core. It is as if the body is dimming the lights inside, closing doors one by one, leaving only the space you need for quiet. Science names these processes precisely, but from within, they feel like a kindness, your own biology taking your hand, leading you into the night. This edge is fragile. Sometimes it flickers. A sound outside may pull you back, or a sudden thought may tighten your chest. But like rain on a pond, the disturbance passes and the surface smooths again. The mind learns to trust this letting go, because it has done so countless times before. Sleep is not the end, it is a return. Every night you step into this unknown, and every morning you wake again. The mystery is safe because it belongs to you, and yet wonder lingers. What happens in the exact moment when awareness folds into dream? Science cannot capture it fully. Machines can trace waves, but they cannot show the feeling of slipping, the sense of being gently unstitched from yourself. Perhaps the mystery exists because it must. If you could watch yourself fall asleep with complete clarity, you would never truly fall. The very act of crossing requires that you let go of observation. It requires that you trust. The rain deepens outside, its rhythm steady as breath. You imagine that each drop carries you a little further, carrying you into the quiet interior sea. Shapes appear behind your eyes, not quite images, not quite thoughts. They float like lanterns over dark water. You feel yourself drifting closer to them, yet you also know that soon you'll be too deep to watch. This is not a loss, but a gift. Your waking self dissolves so that your dreaming self can emerge tender and whole. In this borderland, fear has no weight. Shadows that might trouble you in daylight lose their sharpness. The brain, in this slowed state, knows how to rewrite fear. It folds uncertainty into story, turning alarm into meaning. A sound becomes a voice, a flicker becomes a memory, and what once unsettled you becomes a path toward peace. This is the secret work of the hypnagogic mind. It takes the unknown and gives it form, not to scare you, but to carry you gently forward. Outside, the rain is unbroken, falling with a rhythm as ancient as the earth itself. Inside, your body listens and matches it. You are no longer counting time. You're no longer measuring space. You are simply suspended between the seen and the unseen, between explanation and wonder. Here, science meets mystery, and mystery meets you. The threshold is both real and imagined, both measurable and ineffable. To sleep is to trust in what you cannot fully know, and that trust, each night, renews you. Soon you will cross fully. Soon you will no longer hover at the edge, but will step into the wide sea of dreams. There, stories will unfold not by your design, but by the rhythm of your deepest self. There, the rain will become rivers, oceans, or voices, depending on what your mind creates. There, you will be carried not by reason, but by the tides of imagination. And as you drift, you might wonder, what hidden landscapes does the mind still hold? What lies just beyond the horizon of dream? You do not need to answer now. The rain will answer in its own way. And tomorrow, perhaps, you will awaken still carrying fragments of that mystery into the light of day.